So what did you do this morning?
Yeah, I want you to genuinely think about it for a second.
Right, like between the exact moment your eyes snapped open and right now, you've probably executed like, I don't know, 15 to 20 distinct actions.
Oh, at least.
Yeah, you silenced an alarm, you navigated to the bathroom, you picked out clothes, you definitely consumed some sort of caffeine.
Or a suspiciously large energy drink if you're anything like me.
Exactly. So here is the challenge. If I asked you to describe just 3 of those actions out loud, in smooth, natural English without hesitation, what would happen?
Total panic.
Yeah, for a massive portion of language learners, the result is just instantaneous paralysis. Your brain turns into a laptop with way too many tabs open.
And you just get that colorful little spinning wheel of death taking over your prefrontal cortex.
It's so true.
And it's the great irony of language acquisition, honestly. We're talking about the daily routine today.
Right, the most basic thing.
Exactly.
Yeah.
This is arguably the single most universal, heavily utilized framework of human communication on the entire planet. Everyone has a routine.
Everyone.
Yet the cognitive bottleneck that happens when people try to articulate these hyperfamiliar actions in English is just staggering. And the reason for this bottleneck isn't a lack of vocabulary.
No, it's really not.
It's because almost nobody actually teaches the mechanics of daily routine the way native speakers actually experience it.
Right. So we end up with these incredibly robotic textbook monologues. I mean, we have all heard it, and let's be honest, we've all probably spoken it at some point.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
It's always like, I wake up, I brush my teeth, I go to work. It is completely devoid of humanity.
Yeah, you sound like a broken alarm clock when you string verbs together like that.
A broken alarm clock, yes.
It's binary, it's clinical, and it completely ignores the psychological reality of what a morning actually feels like.
Well, dismantling that broken alarm clock is exactly what we are going to do today in this deep dive.
Yes, we are.
We are tearing apart the source material to look at the actual physics, the psychology, and the hidden grammatical architecture of a real human day.
Which is fascinating when you really dig into it.
It really is. Plus, we've got an incredible case study later on about a guy who caused absolute chaos in his office by mixing up 2 prepositions involving the word engaged.
Oh man, that story is hilarious.
It's a complete disaster. And crucially, we're going to look at the one tiny bridge word that almost everyone leaves out. A word that instantly transforms a robotic grocery list of tasks into a fluid, compelling narrative.
It's like the linguistic glue that native speakers rely on entirely, but they rarely consciously think about it.
So grab your coffee or tea or whatever, and let's start right at the genesis of the day, the very first second. Because immediately, English throws 2 completely different physical states at you, masked as identical twins.
The sneaky little twins.
I am talking about wake up versus get up.
Yeah, the confusion here is rampant. And it stems from a failure to separate the neurological from the physiological.
Okay, break that down for us.
So if we look at the mechanics of the phrase wake up, we are talking strictly about a neurological event. Consciousness is returned. Your brain is booted up. The eyes are open.
And I mean, anyone who has ever experienced a Monday morning knows this. You might still be lying completely motionless in bed.
Oh, totally.
You are spread out like a starfish, staring at the ceiling plaster, deeply questioning all of your life choices up to this point.
Exactly. You are fully awake, but you have achieved 0 forward momentum.
Right.
Get up, conversely, is a purely physical commitment. It requires defying gravity. It means your feet have touched the floorboards, you have vacated the mattress, and officially submitted to the existence of the day.
Submitted to the existence of the day. Wow, that is incredibly accurate.
It's a heavy moment.
It is. It's like I wake up at 6, but I do not get up until 6:45.
Right, the buffer zone.
That 45-minute buffer zone is just me scrolling on my phone in the dark, desperately pretending that time isn't passing.
Right.
But the grammar perfectly mirrors the biology there. Waking is the eyes, and getting up is the spine.
There is actually a fantastic anecdote in our sources that perfectly illustrates the social utility of understanding this biological difference.
Oh, the Marco story.
Yeah, so this professional named Marco arrived significantly late to his office one morning. And when confronted by his manager, Marco didn't offer some convoluted excuse about traffic or train delays.
No, he kept it so real.
He simply said, sorry, I was late. I woke up, but I didn't get up.
And his boss didn't even write him up. The boss just burst out laughing.
Because it is profoundly relatable. Marco used the exact right verbs to articulate a universal human failure. The gap between waking and getting up is a shared global experience.
Right.
By using precise grammar, he didn't just offer an excuse, he offered a moment of absolute human solidarity.
So to you listening right now, I want you to try and visualize that gap in your own morning. Speak it out loud into the room right now.
Yeah, don't worry, only your cat is judging you.
Exactly. What time do you wake up and what time do you get up? Just feel the different physical weights of those two phrases in your mouth.
Now, once we have successfully navigated the physical act of getting out of bed, we immediately run into a structural trap.
Oh yeah, regarding how we define the time this happened.
Right, this is where the grammar of time visualization comes into play.
The dreaded preposition trap. Because I hear this constantly from brilliant, fluent learners. They will construct a beautiful sentence and then say, I get up in the 7 o'clock.
Yeah, the gravitational pull of the word in is incredibly strong for non-native speakers.
But I really want to push back on this because, frankly, the learners have a point here.
Oh, for sure.
Why does English demand the word at for time? At 7 o'clock. To a non-native speaker in time feels entirely logical. You say, I wake up in the morning is a time, 7 o'clock is a time. Why am I in one but at the other? It feels wildly inconsistent.
Well, it feels inconsistent until you look at how the English language evolved to visualize time geometrically.
Geometrically. Okay, explain that.
Think about the historical human experience of a day. For most of human history, time wasn't highly specific. It was a broad phase dictated by the sun, the morning, the afternoon, the evening.
Right, just big chunks of time.
Exactly. English treats these broad phases as containers. They are buckets of time. You exist inside the bucket of the morning. You can move around in it. Therefore, in the morning.
Okay, so the morning is a three-dimensional room I am standing inside.
Exactly. But the invention of the mechanical clock changed human perception entirely. Suddenly, we had highly specific, microscopic slices of time.
Ah, I see where this is going.
Right, so 7 o'clock doesn't have a broad duration. You can't wander around inside 7 o'clock. It is a precise coordinate. It is a strike. Think of it as a laser pointer hitting a highly specific target on a map.
Oh, wow.
You use at for coordinates. At 7, at noon, at midnight.
That completely changes how you see the sentence. So in is the bucket and at is the laser pointer. I wake up in the morning at 7 o'clock. You move from the broad container to the exact coordinate.
And honestly, mastering that geometric shift from in to at is one of the fastest ways to signal deep fluency. It shows you aren't just translating words, you are translating the spatial logic of the language.
So we have established the time, we are out of the bed, and our conceptual timeline moves us to the bathroom. The glamorous morning bathroom routine.
The danger zone.
Yes, because this is where English demands a level of precision that feels almost surgical.
It really does. Because when it comes to grooming and actions involving the physical body, English absolutely rejects broad, generic utility verbs. You have to think of the bathroom like a surgeon's tray. You cannot use a blunt instrument.
Which is exactly what people try to do when they translate directly from their native languages. So many languages use the verbs make or do for everything in the bathroom. You do your hair, you make a shower, you do your teeth.
And it is a perfectly logical assumption. You are performing an action, therefore you do or make it.
Right.
But English requires a highly specific linguistic scalpel for each body part. You brush your teeth, you wash your face, you take a shower.
You cannot use the sledgehammer of make in an English bathroom. Never, under any circumstances, say I make a shower.
Yeah, if you tell a native speaker, I make a shower, the cognitive image you are projecting into their brain is that you are standing in your bathroom with a hard hat, a welding torch, and ceramic tiles, physically constructing a plumbing fixture from scratch.
Which brings us to Yuki. This is easily one of the most illuminating case studies in her source material.
Oh, Yuki, bless her.
So Yuki was an exchange student. It was her very first week living in the United States with a host family. She comes downstairs into the kitchen on a Tuesday morning, eager to practice her conversational skills, and proudly announces to her host parents, "In the morning, I make a shower."
And the host mother, completely baffled by the imagery, pauses and sincerely asks, "Oh, do you need tools?"
Do you need tools? It is a masterpiece of miscommunication. Yuki's host family just burst out laughing.
Of course.
Yuki realizes her mistake and turns absolutely crimson. She is utterly mortified.
But the psychological fallout of that moment is what makes it so fascinating. Because did Yuki ever say, make a shower again?
Never. Not once for the rest of her life.
Because embarrassment is the ultimate biological cheat code for language acquisition. When Yuki realized her mistake, her brain perceived a threat to her social standing.
Right. Her alarm bells went off.
Exactly. Her amygdala flared up. dumping adrenaline and cortisol into her system. That neurochemical cocktail essentially stamped a permanent high-priority flag onto her hippocampus.
Her brain literally said, warning, using make with shower results in intense social pain. Storing correct verb, take in permanent memory vault to ensure survival.
Precisely. It is free memory storage. We spend hours staring at flashcards trying to rote memorize verbs when one moment of bright red blushing will lock a grammatical rule into your nervous system forever.
So let's try to bypass the cortisol spike for you, the listener. Let's lock the correct surgical instrument in right now. Visualize the water, visualize the routine, and say it out loud. I take a shower.
And here's where English starts to play psychological games with you.
Oh, yeah, it does.
Because the moment you step out of the bathroom, put down the surgical instruments of brush and wash, and walk into your bedroom to put clothes on, English completely abandons precision.
It just throws the rules right out the window. We move from extreme precision to utter lexical chaos. Because when it comes to clothes, we run into the absolute strangest set of twins in the language. Dress versus get dressed.
Right. A non-native speaker looks at the verb dress and thinks, logically, I am putting clothes on myself, therefore I dress myself.
But if you say, I dress myself to an American adult, you are instantly projecting massive toddler energy.
It is grammatically flawless, yet socially bizarre. Saying I dress myself sounds like you are seeking validation for a newly acquired developmental milestone.
Right, it's what a 3-year-old yells at their parents after successfully putting their pants on backwards.
Exactly. Native-speaking adults exclusively use the passive construction. I get dressed.
And this brings us to the elephant in the room, the word get. I like to call get the duct tape of the English language. When English doesn't know what to do, it just slaps a piece of get on it and hopes the sentence holds together.
It is the most semantically bleached verb in our vocabulary. It has absorbed dozens of different meanings over the centuries.
But I have to challenge you on this because linguists love to defend the word get.
We do.
Listen to the progression of an English morning. You get up, you get dressed, you get ready, you get going, you get to work. How is that not just profound linguistic laziness? We have a massive vocabulary, and yet we use one tiny vague word to describe half of human existence. It sounds like a language that just gave up.
I hear you, but it isn't laziness.
Yeah.
It is about cognitive momentum.
Yeah.
You have to look at the sociocultural evolution of American English, particularly during the industrial era.
Okay, the industrial era.
Right, the language optimized itself for speed and commerce. Highly specific verbs require micropauses in cognitive processing. By replacing a dozen specific verbs with the uniform rhythm of get, you create a linguistic forward motion.
Oh, interesting.
It acts as a propulsive engine. Get up, get dressed, get ready, get out. It mimics the rushing reality of the morning.
So it's not laziness, it's linguistic aerodynamics. We are reducing drag by using the same word.
Exactly. It creates a bouncy, propulsive flow that Americans inherently associate with productivity.
Okay, I can buy that. Let's test the aerodynamics. I want the listener to try and ride that momentum right now. Link them together smoothly without pausing to think about the individual verbs. I get up, I get dressed, and I get ready for work. You can actually feel how that accelerates your speech compared to hunting for 3 separate verbs.
Now that you are up-dressed and aerodynamic, we hit the most dramatically discussed event of the morning, breakfast.
The culinary main event. Let's start with a quick grammar mystery to test your instincts. I'm going to give you 2 identical scenarios, but one of them is an imposter. Sentence 1, I eat the breakfast at 8. Sentence 2, I eat breakfast at 8.
If your instinct pulled you toward the second sentence, your ear for natural English is already highly attuned.
We drop we completely ghost the article. Why do we say the car or the house? But we absolutely refuse to say the breakfast.
Because English treats routine meals as abstract concepts of time and sustenance rather than specific tangible objects.
Abstract concepts, huh?
Yeah, unless you are referring to a highly specific singular meal, like the breakfast they served at that hotel was terrible, the daily routine of eating is just a conceptual phase of the day. You don't need a definite article for an abstract concept. It is deadweight. Drop it.
Drop the dead weight. I eat breakfast.
Yeah.
But if you want to elevate that from textbook correct to native speaker natural, you need to swap the verb entirely. I have Breakfast is excellent, but if we really want to capture the chaotic American morning, we need to talk about the verb grab.
Grab is a fascinating sociolinguistic marker.
Yeah.
I'm going to grab breakfast. Let's grab a coffee. I need to grab lunch.
When I first heard this explained, I just pictured an American sprinting into a bakery, physically seizing a croissant with their bare hands and running out into the street. But nobody is physically grabbing their food like a medieval raider.
No, it circles back to that concept of momentum and efficiency we discussed with the word get. Grab implies that the act of acquiring food is being seamlessly squeezed into a high-velocity schedule.
Ah, so it's all about speed.
Right. It communicates, I am going to acquire sustenance without breaking my forward momentum.
It is the vocabulary of the busy. I'm starving, let's grab something. Which actually brings up one of the funniest quirks in the source material. The emotional arc of the American appetite. We don't just get hungry, we engage in absolute theatrical hyperbole.
We truly do. If an American's stomach is slightly empty, they will not simply inform you of their mild discomfort. They will tell you they are starving or famished.
I haven't eaten since 7 a.m. I am literally starving.
Biologically, starvation is the terminal phase of profound, prolonged cellular malnutrition. But culturally, it just means it has been 3 hours since your last muffin.
Exactly.
And to escalate that drama, the sources highlight a very specific idiom. I could eat a horse.
Which, just for the record, is a logistical impossibility, not to mention deeply concerning. But the arc doesn't stop there. Act 1 is the dramatic crisis. I'm starving. Act 2 is the high-velocity solution. Let's grab a burger. What is Act 3?
The post-meal resolution. You don't just say, I've consumed enough calories. You say, I'm stuffed, or I am completely full.
Stuffed like a Thanksgiving turkey. The dramatic arc is complete. Now, usually to accomplish this meal, you have to interact with a highly specific, incredibly intimidating environment. The American coffee shop.
The coffee shop interaction is a masterclass in compressed, specialized vocabulary. The language used by baristas is so fast and so idiomatic that it frequently induces that exact spinning wheel of death we talked about at the beginning.
Because they don't use standard textbook English.
Right.
Let's simulate a real high-speed barista interaction so you, the listener, can hear the hidden traps. I'll play the overly caffeinated barista. You play the customer trying to survive.
Ready when you are?
Hey there. What can I get started for you?
Yeah, can I get a medium latte?
Awesome. For here or to go?
To go, please. Got it. Room for cream.
Just a little.
Perfect. That'll be $4.50 at the register.
Okay, let's freeze that simulation right there, because if you aren't prepared for those specific phrases, your brain will short circuit. Let's look at the opener. What can I get started for you?
Right. If you take that literally, it sounds like the barista is offering to initiate a long-term construction project on your behalf. What can I get started? It's a very strange phrasing.
It's a classic example of customer service theater. It is designed to sound collaborative and highly active rather than the blunt and demanding, what do you want?
Then comes the geographical question. For here or to go?
This one trips up so many international visitors. They are expecting eat in or take away, which is common in British English. But for here means you intend to occupy a table and drink from a ceramic mug. To go means you require a paper cup because you are re-entering the chaos of the commute.
And then the final boss of coffee shop vocabulary. Room for cream? Such a strange architectural question. It simply means, would you like me to deliberately underfill your cup, leaving a precise margin of empty space at the top so that you may personally add dairy without causing the beverage to overflow?
But they compress all of that physical geometry down to 3 words. Room for cream. If you don't know the code, you freeze. But now you have the cipher. You survive the cafe cup in hand and you enter the gauntlet of the morning commute.
Commute is a phenomenal piece of vocabulary. It functions perfectly as both a noun like how was your commute and a verb like I commute an hour each way. And in American culture, the commute is inherently intertwined with a social bonding ritual of complaining.
It really is a competitive sport. You think your traffic was bad, I was stuck on the highway for an hour. But structurally, the grammar of commuting is governed by rules of spatial geometry that border on the absurd.
It all comes down to the prepositions of transit. If you are using public transportation, you employ our old duct tape friend's cousin, the verb take. You take the bus.
Yeah.
You take the train.
Oh, yeah.
You take the subway.
But the moment you own the vehicle, the rules shift. You do not take your car, you drive.
And if you are relying purely on biological locomotion, you walk. But here is where the logic entirely derails. If you want to use the specific noun for your extremities, what is the phrase?
You say, I am going on foot. And this drives people crazy. Why on? I am not standing on top of my feet like I'm surfing. I am using my feet. Why isn't it by foot or with foot?
It actually traces back to how English speakers historically conceptualized different modes of transport. A bus or a train is a large container. You step into it and it carries you.
Right.
But historically, when you walked, your feet were viewed as the physical platform upon which your body was resting while moving. You're literally stationed upon your feet as your vehicle, hence on foot.
The feet are the platform. Okay, that actually makes sense when you picture it historically. But speaking of the psychology of the commute, we absolutely have to talk about your neighbor Dave from the source material.
Oh, Dave. Dave is the ultimate modern case study in commuting psychology.
Dave complains about his commute every single morning. He moans about the dreadful start to his day, the transition, the exhaustion of it. So finally I ask him, Dave, it sounds miserable. Why don't you look for a job where you can just work from home? And Dave looks at me with total sincerity and says, I do work from home.
The man works from his own house.
He commutes 20 feet from his bedroom to his living room sofa, and he still manages to complain about the mental toll of the journey.
What Dave's bizarre behavior proves is that the word commute has evolved. It is no longer strictly a geographic journey. It is a psychological transition state. It is the mental buffer zone between your private identity and your professional identity.
And it introduces one of the most critical acronyms of the modern era, WFH, work from home. IRWFH on Fridays. It is indispensable vocabulary now.
So whether you battled an hour of gridlock traffic, took the subway, or just navigated the treacherous hallway from your bed to your sofa, like Dave, you have finally arrived at the core of the day. Work.
And here is where we deliver on a massive promise. We are going to rescue the middle of your day from linguistic boredom, because right now when someone asks a learner what they do all day, the default response is usually just, I work.
Which is structurally sound, but narratively dead. It is, as the source notes suggest, like eating a pancake without any syrup. It provides calories, but zero flavor or insight.
It tells me nothing about your existence.
Yeah.
We need active descriptive verbs to bring the office to life. You don't just work, you answer emails. You attend meetings, you take phone calls.
And if you leave the office for a brief period to handle life admin, the sources highlight a beautiful phrase, run errands.
I've run errands. I absolutely love the rhythm of that phrase.
It refers to completing small, necessary logistical tasks. Going to the bank, dropping off mail at the post office, picking up dry cleaning. I can't meet for lunch. I have to run some errands. It instantly injects a layer of native-sounding authenticity into your vocabulary.
Say it out loud right now just to feel how the R's roll together. Run errands. But as you are navigating the office trying to use your new active vocabulary, you have to be incredibly careful. Because the office is where the stakes for grammatical precision are the highest.
Which brings us to the twist we've been teasing. The story of Ahmed.
Ahmed's spectacular disaster. Let's set the scene. Ahmed is sitting in a modern open-plan office. He has a big deadline. His manager walks by, and Ahmed wants to impress him. He wants to communicate that he is locked in, highly focused, and deeply immersed in his corporate duties.
He was reaching for the very professional, very accurate phrase, I'm engaged in my work.
Engaged in, it means completely absorbed.
And it's a flawless preposition choice for demonstrating focus.
But the pressure is on. The boss is right there. Ahmed panics slightly. His brain swaps one tiny two-letter preposition for another, and he loudly announces to the entire silent open-plan office, I am engaged to my boss.
A total collapse of reality based on one preposition.
The office goes dead silent. The boss freezes. Someone in the back actually starts clapping. Why? Explain the mechanics of the disaster.
It all comes down to how prepositions dictate the direction of the verb engaged. If you are engaged in something, you are participating or focused on a task.
Right.
But if you are engaged to someone or engaged with them in a certain context, it implies a binding romantic contract. Ahmed didn't tell his boss he was focused. He loudly proclaimed a matrimonial commitment to his manager in front of the entire company.
He accidentally proposed. It's the ultimate cautionary tale. In versus to. Two letters that are the difference between a promotion and an HR violation.
But going back to our earlier point about the amygdala and memory, Ahmed will survive and he will never, ever misuse that preposition again.
Never. The embarrassment burned it into his DNA. So after surviving the meetings, the errands, and the potential accidental workplace romances, we hit a very specific biological wall. The time is roughly 3:000 p.m.
The infamous afternoon slump. Your circadian rhythm dips and your cognitive function plummets.
You could just say, I am tired, but again, that is the dry pancake. The sources give us the exact industrial metaphors native speakers use for this moment. Instead of tired, you say, I'm running out of steam.
It's a direct callback to the Industrial Revolution. You are visualizing your body as a steam engine, and the coal furnace is entirely empty. You are losing momentum.
Running out of steam. Or if the exhaustion hits you instantly, you don't gradually slow down, you say, I hit a wall.
Forward momentum has violently ceased. I was doing great, but around 3 o'clock, I just hit a wall.
Or if you want to bypass the metaphors and aim for pure, unadulterated honesty, I need a nap.
Which is universally understood and respected.
Now I want to pull back the curtain on something massive that has been happening during this entire deep dive. While you, the listener, have been laughing at Ahmed and visualizing coffee shops, your brain has been secretly absorbing the foundational architecture of English grammar.
We haven't been talking about grammar rules explicitly, but we have been constructing a very specific tense over and over again. I wake up, I take a shower, I commute, I run errands.
That is the simple present tense. And what is the underlying philosophy of the simple present?
It is the tense of permanence. It is used for facts, habits, and established routines. It tells the listener what is generally true about your existence.
Let me give you a metaphor to separate this from how we talk about what is happening right now. I want you to think of your daily routine like a house. The simple present, I get up, I eat, I work. That is the architectural foundation of the house. It is concrete, it is always there.
But a house isn't just a foundation. There is activity happening inside it.
Exactly. And that activity is the present continuous, the ing words. That is the furniture moving around right now. If your friend calls you on the phone and asks, what are you doing? They don't want to hear about the concrete foundation of your life. They want to know what furniture is moving in this exact second.
You don't say, I drink coffee. You say, I am drinking coffee.
Right now equals ing. I'm working. I'm driving. Or, let's be honest, I'm staring at my screen pretending to answer emails.
So we have the foundation of the routine. But human routines are rarely perfect blocks of concrete. They are messy, they fluctuate. And that is why we need to introduce the linguistic spices, the adverbs of frequency.
Always. Usually. Often. Sometimes. Rarely. Never.
These are not just grammatical modifiers. Psychologically, they are tools of extreme diplomacy and quite often profound self-deception.
Self-deception. Yes, let's talk about this, because where you place these words in a sentence is incredibly strict in English. They have to act as a buffer. They go directly before the main verb.
I always drink coffee. I never skip breakfast. They sit right in front of the action to modify its reality.
And the reality modification is perfectly captured in the story of my old roommate, Chris. I need to tell you about Chris because he represents the aspirational extreme of human routine. Chris would wake up precisely at 5 a.m. He would immediately go for a 5-mile run. He would return, blend a horrifyingly green kale smoothie, sit on a cushion to meditate, and read a chapter of nonfiction all before the sun fully came up.
The man operated like a Swiss watch.
A flawlessly optimized machine. Now, I lived in the exact same apartment. I had access to the exact same 24 hours. My routine was wake up at 5 a.m. when Chris shut the front door to go running, stare at the ceiling, feel an overwhelming wave of existential guilt, and then aggressively go back to sleep until 8:45 a.m.
And this is why adverbs of frequency are so linguistically vital. Because if we look at the raw statement, I go running at 5 a.m. for Chris, that is a factual reality. He can use the word always, but for you.
For me, it is complete fiction. Unless I am being chased by a bear, I am not running at 5 a.m. Adverbs of frequency let us navigate the gap between who we are and who we want to be. I can't say I always run, but I can soften my guilt by saying I rarely run early, or I sometimes think about running.
They allow us to speak truthfully about our flawed human inconsistencies.
So challenge time for the listener. Look at your own messy, flawed, perfectly human reality. I want you to visualize one thing you always do in your routine and one thing you never do. Slot those words right before the verb. Say it into the room right now. I always, and I never.
If you just generated those sentences, you are actively manipulating the timeline of your own habits in a foreign language.
Speaking of habits breaking down, let's push our conceptual timeline to the end of the day. The workday is over. The steam engine is out of coal. You need to return to your sanctuary. And here we encounter the ultimate grammatical rebel of the English language, the word home.
Home completely defies the standard geometry of transportation that we discussed earlier.
If I travel to a building, I say, I go to the office. I get to the store. I commute to the gym. But when I arrive at my own house, what do I say?
You simply say, I get home or I go home.
Notice the gaping hole in that sentence. There is no to. We absolutely unequivocally do not say, I go to home. Why does home get special treatment? Is it just English being chaotic again?
Actually, there is a beautiful historical logic to it. In Old English, home, or ham, wasn't always treated as a destination noun like a building or a city. It frequently functioned as an adverb of direction.
An adverb of direction, like forward or backward.
Exactly. You don't say, I go to forward. You just go forward. Similarly, you go homeward. Over centuries, the word was dropped, but the directional grammar remained. Home isn't just a place you arrive at. It is a direction your life moves in. Therefore, no preposition is needed. It absorbs the direction into itself. I go home.
It is a direction your life moves in. That is weirdly poetic for a grammar rule. I love that. So moving in the direction of home, you arrive, and immediately you face the daily crisis of dinner. I cook dinner, I make dinner. Or the most common reality.
Order takeout.
Takeout. Beautiful, commercially prepared food that you acquire and bring back to your sanctuary so you can consume it while wearing sweatpants. Now, deciding on dinner often involves negotiation. I want to play out a quick, fast-paced dinner negotiation to highlight one very specific diplomatic word.
Let's hear the scenario.
I'll be the exhausted roommate. Hey, dinner's ready.
Oh, nice. What'd you make?
I boiled some pasta.
Pasta. Didn't we have that yesterday?
Look, you want to cook next time.
Slastica. Sounds great, actually.
And scene. Did you catch the pivot, that one word at the very end? Actually.
Actually is a linguistic shock absorber.
A shock absorber. Tell me why.
When you realize you are about to cause friction, or you want to retract a complaint without sounding defeated or aggressive, you use actually to soften the reversal. It communicates upon encountering new information, like the threat of having to cook myself.
Yeah.
I've reassessed my reality and I am pivoting smoothly. Pasta sounds great, actually.
It de-escalates the tension immediately. Keep actually in your diplomatic toolkit.
Okay, pasta is consumed. The dishes are in the sink. We reach the final phase of the day, the wind down.
Wind down, a phrasal verb that perfectly visualizes the mechanical unwinding of a tightly coiled spring. To physically and mentally release the tension of the day, I need to wind down with a book.
But the English language has laid a massive trap here. You have to ensure you do not confuse wind down with wind up.
Two entirely different trajectories. Wind down means to relax, but wind up, that means you accidentally arrived at an unintended destination or consequence. I meant to go to sleep at 10, but I wound up watching 6 episodes of a documentary about ancient Rome.
The irony is that in our attempt to wind down, we very frequently wind up doing something counterproductive.
And usually that involves trying to chill.
Chill is the ultimate American casual verb. It just means to relax, to exist without pressure. I'm just going to chill tonight.
Or to use the phrase my grandfather loved, take it easy, which bizarrely is also used as a way to say goodbye. Hey, I'm heading out, take it easy. Language is a labyrinth.
It is a labyrinth, but if you have followed us this far, you have successfully mapped it. Which brings us to the grand reveal.
The moment I promised you in the very first minute of this deep dive, the one tiny bridge word that takes all of these isolated mechanics, the waking, the showering, the commuting, the chilling, and fuses them into a native-sounding narrative.
It is the difference between a list of facts and a fluid story.
Drumroll, please. The word is then.
THE.
Let me demonstrate the incredible power of this tiny word. If I strip it away, listen to how I sound. I wake up, I take a shower, I get dressed, I grab coffee, I drive to work.
It is completely rigid. It sounds like a police interrogation report. You're just reciting data points.
Now watch what happens when I apply the glue. I wake up and then I take a shower, then I get dressed, and then I grab a coffee before I drive to work.
The transformation is immediate. If a routine without then is a pile of jagged rocks, a routine with then is a river. It flows around the obstacles.
It glides. And then is the leader of an entire squad of sequencing words. First, next, after that, finally. These words signal to the listener that you are taking them on a journey, not just reading them a spreadsheet.
First, I wake up. Next, I shower. After that, I eat. Finally, I leave. You instantly project confidence and mastery over the timeline.
And as a quick bonus, look at that word, leave. A much more natural American way to say leave is to use the verb head. I'm going to head out, I need to head home. Head plus a direction means you are moving your body that way.
All right. I think it is time we stress test everything we've built.
Let's put the entire puzzle together. I'm going to read a full uninterrupted paragraph from our source material that utilizes everything we have discussed. You can speak with this rhythm, this vocabulary, and these bridge words. Native speakers won't even process that you are speaking a second language. Just listen to the flow. So on a normal day, I usually wake up around 6:30, but honestly, I rarely get up until 7 because the bed is warm and reality is harsh. First, I drag myself to the bathroom, take a shower, and get dressed. I never skip breakfast. I always grab a coffee and maybe some toast. After that, I commute to work, which is about 30 minutes if traffic's fine and 100 years if it's not. I usually spend the morning answering emails and running errands. By 3, I completely hit a wall and run out of steam. Finally, I head home. I usually just order takeout and then I chill on the couch to wind down. By 11, I'm out like a light.
It is a masterclass in natural phrasing. And that final idiom, out like a light, is brilliant.
It is so visual. It means falling asleep instantly with zero transition. Click. Darkness. My head hit the pillow and I was out like a light.
Now to the listener, we have reached the critical juncture. This is the application phase. Do not passively listen to this next part.
I'm dead serious. I want you to hit pause on this audio in a second, and I want you to describe your actual day out loud. Use the sequencing glue first, then after that. Use the adverbs of self-deception, usually never. Use the precise verbs. Talk to your steering wheel. Talk to the mirror, sound slightly unhinged. Embrace the awkwardness, because awkwardness is just fluency doing push-ups. Do it now.
So hopefully they actually paused it.
Yeah, welcome back if you did. Now, as we wrap up, we need to equip you with the ultimate conversational shortcuts. Because the truth is, when an American asks you about your day, they very rarely want the full chronological river we just built.
Small talk in America is about acknowledging existence without demanding extensive data.
Exactly. If a coworker passing you in the hall says, "Hey, how was your day?" they will be terrified if you start with, "First, I woke up at 6." Instead, use the shortcuts. You say, "Same old, same old."
Same old, same old. A brilliant idiom. It communicates my routine occurred exactly as it always does. There are no anomalies to report. We are safe to continue our day.
Or my personal favorite, "Can't complain."
Can't complain is the cornerstone of American casual stoicism. It translates to things might not be perfect, but they are not disastrous enough to warrant burdening you with the details. It means things are generally fine.
Let's do a quick hallway simulation. I'll be the coworker. "Hey, long time no see. How've things been?"
Same old, same old. You.
Can't complain, staying busy.
Smooth, frictionless social interaction.
Now, what if things aren't going well? What if the routine collapsed? We have shortcuts for that, too. If you are behind schedule, you don't give a long excuse. You just say, "I'm running late."
And if the genesis of the day failed entirely? If the biological process of waking up didn't happen when the clock said it should?
You use the ultimate tragic verb, "I overslept." It means you slept past your intended coordinate of time entirely by accident. I overslept and missed the train. It is universally forgiven because we have all been there.
And when it is finally time to end these brief interactions and part ways, you don't say a formal goodbye.
No, you use the friendliest, most universally accepted exit strategy in the language. Have a good one.
Have a good one allows the listener to fill in the blank with whatever they want. A good day, a good evening, a good weekend. It is completely versatile.
Take care, catch you later, have a good one. Pick your favorite and make it your signature exit. Now, before we officially sign off, I want you to take a second and reflect on what your brain just accomplished over the last hour. Let's do a rapid-fire recall. Do you remember the biological difference between the very first 2 verbs of the day?
Neurological consciousness versus physical momentum. Wake up versus get up.
Do you remember why we say it's 7 but in the morning?
The laser pointer coordinate versus the 3-dimensional bucket of time.
Do you remember the surgeon's tools in the bathroom and poor Yuki's absolute horror?
We take a shower because making one requires ceramic tiles and a blowtorch.
Do you remember Ahmed's catastrophic office announcement?
Engaged in means focused. Engaged means shopping for rings.
And do you remember the magic bridge word that turns the rocks into a river?
Then.
You remembered all of it. Why? Because you didn't memorize arbitrary rules.
Yeah.
You didn't stare at a textbook. We tied the grammar to human embarrassment, to the Industrial Revolution, to the physical geometry of time, and to hilarious disasters. That is invisible repetition. Your brain absorbed the architecture because it was attached to human stories.
And that leads me to the final, most crucial thought I want to leave you with today. We spend so much time trying to memorize the language of extraordinary events, how to talk about vacations or politics or philosophy. We treat our daily routines as if they are too boring to discuss.
Just another Tuesday.
But think about the trajectory of technology right now. We have AI tools in our pockets that can instantly, flawlessly translate complex technical documents or philosophical treaties. Machine translation is perfect at handling data. But do you know what machine translation strips away? The weirdness, the flavor. Exactly. An AI will translate, "I am hungry" with perfect grammatical precision, but an AI will never tell you that it is starving. An AI doesn't hit a wall at 3:00 p.m. An AI doesn't lie to itself using the word usually when talking about going for a run.
An AI doesn't stare at the ceiling feeling existential dread in the buffer zone between waking and getting up.
Mastering the idiosyncrasies of the daily routine isn't just about vocabulary. It is the ultimate proof of your humanity in a second language. The quirks, the exaggerations, the chaotic reliance on the word get. These are the messy, beautiful fingerprints of human connection. When you learn to describe your mundane, boring Tuesday using these exact idioms, you aren't just proving that you know English. You are proving that you share the exact same frustrating, exhausting, and completely relatable human experience as the native speaker standing across from you.
That is profound. By changing the words you use, your boring routine becomes the very bridge that connects you to everyone else. So your final mission, go out into the world today and prove your humanity. Use the word then. Exaggerate and say you could eat a horse. Misuse a word, turn bright red, and let your amygdala lock it in forever.
Embrace the chaos of the routine.
We will be right here waiting to unpack it all again next time. Until then, ditch the broken alarm clock, throw some syrup on that pancake, and see what happens when you tell your story. Have a good one.